Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to share some thoughts and theories I had about the trailer that just dropped for the season 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you haven't seen it, I'll include a link to it in the description down below. Obviously, the big thing is obviously like, oh, here's this person who's Coulson, but not Coulson, just someone or rather something that looks like Coulson, because May is like, no, I spent my last days with Coulson, so it's definitely not him. So my mind immediately goes to many different places. Two of the places kind of are connected to Captain Marvel. One is like, well, did he get Captain Marvel? Did he get, like, in the same situation where Carol kind of got, brainwashed into, believing she was something else when she wasn't? Like, because obviously she had lost her memories. Well, that's kind of spoilers for Captain Marvel, but I think it'll be okay. But then, there's the other side of me that's like, well, what about the Skrulls? Could it be that type of situation? But the way they're handled in Captain Marvel, which obviously trying to avoid spoilers, which I should have said so beforehand, so I do apologize. But I wonder, would that be something they would necessarily do? Because they're the only, at least at this point in time, the only shapeshifters we're aware of in this universe. To be fair, there is that 20-year gap between the events of Captain Marvel and present day Marvel, so it's like, who knows like how much could have changed in that time. Like, maybe things might have shifted for them, because we still don't 100% know what happened between all of that in that 20-year period, like between but to be fair, I think some stuff is hinted that it was going to be answered, and some of that might be answered in Endgame, which I haven't seen yet, so that might be something also to be considered as well. So like I said, I just don't know if they necessarily go down that route because of the way the Skrull were handled in Captain Marvel. But then another part of my brain is like, well, maybe not aliens, maybe we are dealing with alternate dimensions, just because May is having such a hard time dealing with this whole situation, because you have Daisy telling her, it's like, yo, like, that's not there's no part of the man you love in there. So part of me thinking like, oh, so we're starting to get spreading out with the multiverse in this situation. So this might be like a Coulson from like a different universe, instead of being like this good guy, that he ends up being like the ultimate destruction of worlds, because it seems like he's like a world destroyer, which is so interesting considering like that's what Daisy was kind of being like, prophesized to be, like this world destroyer and stuff like that. And so I think it's kind of interesting if they end up going down that route, just because of the parallels between the whole situation of like Daisy kind of believing herself to be that, and obviously Coulson not believing that and wanting her to be the one to take charge. Which in that whole conversation, there's a whole thing about like, oh yeah, like Mac is kind of in charge now, and it's like probably the tough job of like having to fill the shoes of Phil Coulson is one thing. Which also begs the question, what about him and Yo-Yo? Obviously, they had a very, very complicated relationship last season, and I don't know if things are 100% back to the way they were before. I'm also curious to see Yo-Yo kind of, obviously, at this point, it's been some time, so she's probably even more well-adjusted to her new arms and everything. Obviously, they're in space a little bit this season, but obviously that's them just looking for Fitz. But it does seem like, based on, or at least how the trailer's cut, it's like them coming back home after a while, and it seems like, oh, they haven't found Fitz just because he's not where he was. So like maybe someone had taken him, maybe these particular people, I don't know, maybe they had come across where Fitz was and taken him, or I don't know, or maybe he's just so well hidden they just don't know where to find him, which obviously is heartbreaking, especially for Simmons. Something that pops up in the trailer makes me think about something I brought up in the season 5 finale, was like Deacon being gone. I didn't know how to interpret that scene. I didn't know whether that was like oh, he got wiped from existence and no one remembers him type of thing, or was it supposed to be representative of the fact of like, oh no, like he just ended up leaving like he said he was. I wasn't 100% sure about that. I mean, he comes, when we see him in the trailer, it seems like he's wearing casual clothes, so part of me is like, oh, he did just kind of go off and live his life or something, kind of enjoy this time, because he never knows when time's going to catch up with him, he's going to pop out of existence. Or maybe certain things happen and he just randomly does pop back in existence. It didn't seem like a just pop back in existence type of thing. It seemed like, oh, he was just out adventuring, enjoying the world and stuff like that. So these people are obviously, like I brought up earlier, kind of like world destroyers. It doesn't, because I don't know whether it's just Coulson himself that's the world destroyer, or the people he's with, like the crew he's running with, are world destroyers. Either way, like, why they're specifically coming to Earth, maybe it just happened to be their next target, maybe it was always planned, maybe someone pointed them in this direction, maybe it's something related to the Kree, maybe the Kree are like, you know what, there's too much of an issue, let's not forget the Kree, were an issue obviously present day last time because of, God, what is that group that was a part was it the Confederacy? Was that the group's name? I'm blanking on it, from season 5, the alien groups. And like the one that there was one of the Kree that ended up coming after Daisy. He wanted her just because, oh, she's a world destroyer, she's as powerful as she is. So it also begs the question that, you know, this whole situation with this new Coulson, this Phil Coulson but not Phil Coulson situation of, do you think that means that there could be potentially a way that this ends with them getting their Coulson back? Or, you know, if we're dealing with like alternate dimensions, will they run into other Phil Coulsons or other people from other dimensions type of thing, if this is where that's going? Because it's, like I said, it seems like it seemed like it's an alien thing, but maybe it's not. Maybe it is a dimensional thing. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a Skrull thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like a whole different alien that just happens to look like Coulson. Maybe it's just some chance in the universe of there being like a doppelganger of Coulson out there. Or maybe it's, you know, there's actually meaning to it. Maybe like for there to be 2 existences of him like that, and maybe that means something. I don't know. That's just where my mind is, and it's all over the place about potentially what that could mean, what that could all be about. Either way, it obviously is going to be a tough job, like, you know, for everyone to try and fight him, because no matter what the circumstances is, he still looks like Coulson, even if he isn't Coulson. So there's always going to be, I guess, a little bit of that hesitation. And also there's a whole situation I've talked about before, like, will anything in Infinity War or Endgame affect what goes down in this season? Because, you know, it might not have like the biggest effect, but at the very least there might be like some nods towards it. I mean, to be fair, the last time we saw, which is interesting because let's not forget, there is the whole time skip situation, depending on if that is the way Endgame plays out. Well, I mean, it's kind of confirmed at this point. Like, obviously there's been some time frame past, potentially, you know, so never mind. I'd say that, but it's like, it's still kind of a theory. Once again, it's just my own fault for not having seen Endgame yet, but because I was about to say, because there was reference to Infinity War in season 5, so I don't know. Like, I'm curious to see what kind of effect that's going to ultimately have on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that's kind of just my point. But like I said, these are just some of my thoughts and theories. In the comments down below, let me know some of your thoughts and theories about what you think this whole situation is about, what you'd want to see in season 6, what you think we'll see. Let me know all that in the comments down below. But really, that's all I want to talk about today. Next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.